Welcome back to Basics. My name is Ron, your host. We've got Kelly and Michael. Michael, welcome back with us. We want to throw a shout out to our homie Jeff and his girly girl Hannah. We do hope that you guys are feeling better. I knew that they were sick over the week, so hopefully next week Jeff will be back and we don't have Michael. But we'll see. But that being said,
not that we don't like having Michael here.
Any way to get rid of me.
I've been trying
You
to
are
for
you
24 years.
right. So basically, we kind of changed up the scenery here in the studio. I hope that you like it. Gives us more of an intimate feeling here, to where we can actually sit and talk to one another, and we're not messing around with everything else. Kelly, of course, is going to head up the conversation tonight. We will be talking about 28 Days Haunted from Netflix. Michael, I believe you just finished that this week, right?
I finished at 6:30 in the morning this morning.
Nice. So we have that going for us. I do believe, and I do want to welcome Michael Kellerman to the group. He is officially a member of Back to Basics Paranormal. So he will be around a lot more often than Jeff, because Jeff we get every other week because he's got kitties. And I understand that, Jeff. I'm going to miss you. But anyway, Jeff, just kidding. We love you, man.
Hope you all feel better.
Yeah, we absolutely do. But nonetheless, tonight, like I had stated, we're going to talk about the 28 Days Haunted from Netflix. So we're going to talk about
Captain Grant's Inn, located in Preston, Connecticut.
Preston, Connecticut. Now, out of the 3 locations that they did in this show, this is probably my second favorite. And the reason is because I think it was more intimate, more believable. There were things that happened that couldn't be explained.
Yeah.
Michael, tell me what you thought about the show as a whole.
Interesting. The fact that they're hosting 3 different investigations at the exact same time.
Okay. And are you familiar with Lorraine and Ed Warren?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
God, you got the names right.
Right. Were you surprised to know that was their son-in-law that kind of, I don't know if he was the producer, so to speak, more so as just involved in the
head investigator.
Right.
Yeah, well,
not head investigator, but he was
because he's the one that, he's following in their footsteps.
He was the host, basically. Yeah. So that was a very interesting turn of events for me when I first started watching that show, and I think I've said that a few times. So that in itself was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we talked last time. We talked about the
Lumber Baron Inn,
where the 2 male and 1 female investigators, which I'm sure you remember their names. I don't.
I do not.
Yep, but they are on the web on the YouTube. You can watch that episode. And we kind of broke that down a little bit. We kind of talked about the pros and the cons and what we felt were shenanigan more so than not. So if you recall, Michael, in that episode, in that location, what did you feel about that specific location? How did you feel about it?
The Captain Brooks or
no, that
would
Lumber Baron Inn with the 2 murders.
Very interesting.
He saw the shadow.
Yeah, you saw the shadow that I didn't see.
When they were first in the, I guess, cellar-ish, the tunnel, you quickly see it kind of just go out of frame.
Well, I looked at it again, and I still didn't see it.
That's because you're blind.
Well, there is that.
It's very quick.
Yeah, it's very quick.
But it's there.
So I'm going to look at it again, see what we can find.
It'll be like in the top left corner.
Okay.
Because you probably were just not looking in the right spot.
But with the fact that you saw the shadow, when it came down to how they achieved or gained their knowledge of what happened in the house, right? Do you think it is possible that when he was in the sensory tank or whatever sensory deprivation tank, that is how they actually found out that where that piece of evidence was, the newspaper clipping?
Yep.
You do believe that?
Yes.
I think it was hoaxed.
I believe it because if you're in a pure relaxation, like in a meditative state, you can get more heightened senses.
I agree with that. Totally. But
and you were open to information.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm I'm always open to information.
Learn how to talk.
But, right. So,
Pronounce Amityville.
Amityville. So, with that being, with all due respect, I would have to say that was pretty convenient when they were doing the seance around the table and he was just going down, down, it's down, it's down, it's down. And he automatically said, well, I think we need to go back down to the cellar.
I think that, thinking of it that way, when it kept saying going down, go down, go down, go down to the cellar,
Right. But, I just still think it was
You were thinking
pretty
more was
convenient.
point.
I always think it was pretty convenient for that. Now, when we talk about, and we're going to talk more about this one when Jeff gets back in 2 weeks.
Madison Dry Goods Store.
Madison Dry Goods Store. I said score.
In Madison, North Carolina.
But anyway, what did you think about that one? Just, pretty
That was intense.
I enjoyed it.
That one was definitely intense.
And for the guy who's doing all the prayers, he put himself in risk a lot. The fact that he was rushed to the emergency room for a few days.
Well, I mean, think about it. Not putting what we found out when she had her interview, that the computer interview or that Skype with that historian,
Yeah.
right? To me, I would have just thought he exerted himself being a big guy like me,
Yeah.
right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. You could tell he was sweating all the time.
Yeah.
And then, maybe that's how he ended up felt like he was going to have a heart attack, panic attack. Maybe he got scared about something and had a panic attack.
Yeah.
But then, after hearing that interview with that doctor or
The historian.
the historian or whatnot, that's when I realized that there might have been some craziness to this because they did not know that. Sorry, folks. But anyway, so that's going to bring our attention back down to grants. So, what was your favorite part about Captain Grant's?
The end. When stuff's getting thrown down the stairs, stores are slamming shut, and you're actually witnessing them being slammed.
Well, and that's what kills me is because all three people, other than the other cast and crew that might have been in the house doing the filming, right?
Actually, if you see it, you can actually see the cameras that they placed moving and turning.
Right. And that is what made me believe that was real.
Real.
Yeah.
And then when they were up in the attic, and then they came down and all the cabinet doors were open in that ballroom area.
That was Lumber Baron.
Yeah. She made that mistake earlier, and I reminded her.
That was Lumber Baron Inn.
Lumber Baron Inn.
That's what the two guys and the woman.
Yeah.
No, it was not. I will prove it to you right now. Pull it up.
$16.
You're crazy.
I bet you.
I need to go to Netflix.
I don't place bets. What episode was it?
I don't know.
Just type in Lumberberry and cabinets, ballroom cabinets opening.
I'm telling you, that was not Lumber Baron Inn.
I remember because the two guys were up in that room having a conversation about the woman not pulling her weight. Because remember
You annoy me to the point to no end.
Yeah, it was Lumber Baron Inn.
Now I remember.
That has the
Now I remember that. My bad, people. I've been corrected again. It's all right.
What
I'm
else
good.
is new?
All right, between you, him, and now my son, my wife, whatever. I'm always getting corrected.
But yeah, that scene, they walked into that little circular room where the candle started swinging back and forth by itself. And then
I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that now vaguely. I mean, vividly. So, yeah. So, all right, let's break it down, Kel. Let's give us some history of Captain Grant's Inn.
All right, so without further ado, Captain Grant's Inn, located in Preston, Connecticut. As we said, in 28 Days Haunted, we followed three paranormal investigators who investigated Captain Grant's Inn. Now, there is some, I will say this, when researching Captain Grant's Inn, I was finding conflicting information. Captain Grant's Inn was built in 1754. Now, I kept finding information that it was built by Captain William Grant. However, Captain William Grant wasn't born until 1754. So, from what my research it's showing, I believe it was built by Captain Grant Oliver III. who was his father. It was built for his wife and their 8 children. The home passed through generations of the Grant family until finally his son, Captain William Grant, moved into the home with his wife, Mercy Adelaide Avery, when they married in 1801. The couple lived in the home until Captain Grant's death at sea in 1816. At the age of 31, 32, I couldn't really pin down an exact age for William Grant. He was buried across from the home in the new I'm just going to spell this, Poquetanuck cemetery. Joined later by his wife after her death at the age of 79 in 1861. Adelaide did remain in the home until her death. Now, visitors of Captain Grant's Inn have talked of waking in what is known as the Adelaide Room, and seeing a woman dressed in 19th century attire holding the hands of 2 young children. This is believed to be the spirit of Adelaide.
So remind me, because my memory is horse crap, right? Mm-hmm. Who were the 2 young children?
It doesn't really say. They had, I believe, 5 children. So it's just she's holding the hands of 2 young children.
And did they die prematurely?
No.
Okay.
Not that I could find. So anyway, this is, woman that, visitors have spoken of seeing is believed to be the spirit of Adelaide, who roams the inn waiting for her beloved husband to return from sea, which they did discuss that in 28 Days Haunted, where he talked about seeing a woman standing at a window and she's pointing out. They later, figured out that she was pointing towards the cemetery. Where they later walked out and they found the graves of Adelaide and William. In addition to the spirit of Adelaide, visitors have reported the television being turned on and off and on its own, as well as the shower curtain being knocked down by an unseen force. And this is even after it's been screwed into the wall, glued to the wall, and it still gets knocked down. On the Netflix 28 Days Haunted, the investigators were Sean Austin, Aaron Thompson, and Nick Simmons, who communicated with the spirit of Adelaide. As I said, at one point they were led to the graves of her and her husband. They found, they found the graves.
But and they found the graves by how?
From what I don't remember which investigator it was, he talked about seeing the spirit of a woman. Or the figure,
Sean.
Was it Sean?
It was Sean.
Seeing the spirit of a woman standing at a window pointing out, like she was pointing out the window.
Now, were there ever when you were doing your research, were there photos of Adelaide?
Not that I could find.
Because I would really like to post one up while we're talking about the segment.
I'll continue to look. I couldn't find any of William Grant, for sure. But I will see if I can find a picture of Adelaide.
Okay, cool.
Now, in my research, like Michael was talking about, he was looking at the grave. It says Mercy. Her name was Mercy Adelaide Avery. In that time period, women, their daughters would have the same first name. Their middle name would be their mother's name, and then, I'm sorry, their first name would be their mother's maiden name, and their middle name would be their mother's first name.
Okay, didn't know that.
So their daughter's name was Mercy Avery Adelaide. Mm. So that's why, or Mercy Avery. That's why you saw when it said on her gravestone, Mercy Adelaide Grant.
It only said Mercy. It didn't say the.
Well, full name was Mercy Adelaide Avery. Their daughter's name was Mercy Avery. So daughter's same first name, middle name, or same first name, middle name is mother's maiden name. So anyway, the spirit led Sean out to the gravesite, the cemetery where they found the graves of Mercy, Adelaide, and William Grant. I couldn't really find much more about Captain Grant's Inn. There is said to be at least as many as 12 spirits that inhabit the inn. One of them is also a little girl, who is also buried in the cemetery. So with the cemetery being so close to the home, it's understandable why they've got so much paranormal activity and so many spirits.
Okay.
But that's what I found about Captain Grant's Inn. It's kind of interesting. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it was a very nice, very beautiful home based on the episode.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and we'll get into more of that in a little bit, but I like the history of that home.
Yes,
Of
absolutely.
the way, and it was beautifully built. Absolutely.
Right.
And I love
And
that.
it is currently a bed and breakfast. You can book stays there. And
And I think in February, right? Is that
in
there?
February, they are actually hosting another paranormal investigation that you can sign up for, and is actually going to be led by Sean Austin.
Dibs.
Yeah, can't afford it.
Oh.
And that's what I think that was going to be like $1 trillion, I think.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I'm sure. I mean, to travel up there for a 4-hour investigation is not worth it for me unless
No,
I'm
it's-
staying all
yeah.
night. I prefer to stay 2, but kind of like what we're going to do in Windyville, Missouri here coming up in the next few months. Hopefully I can get in touch with her and get that set up. But
Yeah.
so let's dive in a little bit. They used a lot of the typical equipment that
They did.
more or less other investigators use. Things like your EVPs. They used
Spirit boxes.
spirit boxes.
spirit
They
box.
used not that yet, but they used EMF meters and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And those are all your typical ghost hunting tools.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they used a RAM pod
No.
No,
or
they did
nothing like
not.
that. But what they did use, and I am going to
He's
obtain,
dying to have one.
I'm gonna get it. It's that electric static generator, and I truly think that is what made the difference in that investigation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because when they were running that, you heard so much more clear
Adelaide.
or when he says, "Well, who put the handprint on the wall?" You did.
Oh, when
Yeah.
they wrote "CU"
Yeah.
on the
Who
mirror.
wrote "See you"? You. And that was the spirit from the spirit box telling him, because he's the one that asked a question, right?
Yep.
So that to me is just freaking amazing. I
Yeah.
so want one. And then I would love to take it to the graveyards. Take it
Yeah,
to one
yeah.
of our graveyards and just kind of see what we can figure out. The ones we hit, I don't think necessarily we're going to get a whole lot of, but we are going to get into that one. We passed that one night that was open that shouldn't have been open.
Yeah.
But we are going to get into that one at some point. At some point. Even if we go out there to, just fish for a few hours and then it gets dark and then we just kind of forget about time.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
this is all hypothetically. No criminal activity being
No, there
confessed.
No, there's a wildlife,
A while.
my wife is wild. No, there's a wildlife area here in the St. Louis area that we want to investigate, but the problem with that is in the summertime, it's the best time to
closes at
investigate.
sundown.
Yeah, the best time to investigate is during the witching hour, and that's my opinion. And if you're going to start the investigation at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, you're going to need to be out there all night if you're going to try to get any type of evidence, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the best time, and unfortunately the gates close. However, I'm going to try to convince somebody that runs up there and that runs that shop up there. I'm going to talk to them and see about letting us in there. We'll see, and we may not get it there, but I definitely
Yeah.
want to get in there. So with one of the funniest parts I think on Captain Grant was, and again your eyes are fresher than mine because you just watched it, but was the argument that took place in the bedroom that made the one dude cry.
Oh yeah, where
That was
Yeah,
funny.
where they confronted him about stuff.
Yeah, he's like, we've been friends for so long, I don't know what's going on, da, 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 da. And then he went out and he did his thing, and then they were like, they found that metal thing in the ground, right?
yeah.
The star.
So what I want to talk about more so is what happened with the furniture being tossed down the stairs.
Like I said,
What do you think caused that?
What
The provocation.
Provocation. Like I said, there's as many as 12 up to 12 spirits that inhabit Captain Granson supposedly, and again with it being in such close proximity to that cemetery, which is one of the oldest in that area.
Right.
I think with the star that they found, and all being in close proximity to that cemetery, I think there was provocation. They may have upset some spirits because they were really focused on Adelaide.
That was pretty much what the whole
thing they were focused
boiled
on.
down to.
That was the only name they got.
Right, that's
Right.
the only one they came up with.
But it was clear as day when it said it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
but like you
absolutely.
can even see when he's doing his thing, he's saying her name and any others that are here.
Right, and I think the throwing of the furniture was, for lack of a better term, a ghost temper tantrum, like saying, "Hey, we're still here too."
Yeah, why aren't we getting any attention, right? Which brings me back to the last one we discussed, the Lumber Baron Inn.
Yeah.
Right? Which they only focused on the two girls.
Well, the focus on the two girls because it was again a traumatic event, and I
it was
could
a
not
traumatic
find
event.
any other deaths.
Right, and it was a very traumatic event, and I believe that. But and there again, the lights flickering on and off in the hallway. The shadow up the stairs, which I did see that.
Yeah.
The one downstairs I didn't see, but it was like, why are you focusing just on two? And how did?
I think the shadow may have been the butler, Mr. Jenks or Mr. Jenkins.
Well, yeah, I mean, it very well could.
And they only focus on the two girls is because the guy who took the bath thing.
The bath thing, the sleep deprivation.
Thank
thing.
you.
Sensory
He
deprivation.
got that dream of the two girls, and at that point, he said before he took the sensory deprivation tank experiment, he only knew about the two until after that. Then he comes out shaking, saying, "There's more.
Yeah.
It's not just these two. There's more." So
Yeah.
the whole investigation was only about.
Well, he was talking about he wasn't necessarily talking about there was more people and more spirits in the
I think
house,
he was
more
talking
so as
about-
there was more victims from this particular guy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they only knew.
I don't think it was a serial killer.
I think it was a hitman.
I think it was somebody she knew.
It could have
A
been
boyfriend?
It could have been an affair go wrong.
It could have been a boyfriend. It could have been somebody who wanted her attention.
Burglar?
I
Break in?
no, like I said, I think it was somebody that she knew, and the friend was collateral damage.
Right. But we're off topic. So, I can't think of what I was going to say. I just totally lost train of thought, guys.
You got completely derailed.
Right.
Wow. Do we need to play an air horn?
So, now that you guys reminded me that the cabinets and stuff were all Lumber Baron Inn, but I don't know. I just Captain Grants doesn't just like jump out at me anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not one of those. Not one of my favorite. It's just like, oh, the most exciting parts in that episode for me was the word Adelaide that came
Yep.
through the ghost box. The word you that came through the ghost box when he was when he asked who wrote I see, right? And then the chairs being thrown down and the cameras twisting. Those
Yeah.
are the most
Evidentiary.
Yeah, that's it. Those are the most points of evidence that I've seen in that one.
Yeah.
And glass door slamming at the end of the hallway when he was doing his thing. If you notice, it slammed
Yes,
shut.
I saw that, and other than that, that really wasn't it. They didn't have a whole lot of grabbing or scratching or anybody
No.
getting feelings.
It was
and things like
really
that.
almost, like I said, it was intimate because, it's believed she was there waiting for her husband her lost love to return.
Right, and now, evidently, she's at peace, right?
Yeah.
Based on the findings of the show, she's at peace and she's no longer there. Why would you want to go investigate?
That's one thing I was kind of curious about when she passed on. How was she still able to give the response if she's no longer in the house?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, I mean,
I think she actually still there. She just everybody else that was there spiritually is gone, but she
Maybe.
still remains.
I mean,
I think, and she may still remain because, again, she's waiting for her long.
And she wasn't really a threat. It seemed
No.
she was just
No,
kind
there
of
was no
there.
threat.
It's her home.
Well, there was the ones that were, as she said, spiritually throwing a temper tantrum.
That was creepy.
That
That was the creepiest part of that entire episode. Or at least that property.
because in all three there was something apparently dark
Yeah.
in all three. There was the one in Captain Grant's that was throwing things, and all that. There's the one that was in the store that attacked Jeremy,
Madison Dry Goods.
Oh my God, he got it right.
and then there was the one in the lumber bearing inn that grabbed what's his face,
Grabbed
his leg.
Well, and also grabbed her leg.
I think the grabbing of the leg because they were in her room
Where the girl was stuck
where the
under
girl
the bed.
her body was put under the bed.
Yeah.
So
When would ghosts realize that grabbing someone's leg when they can't see you is scary?
Well, duh. They don't realize they can't.
they
you
don't
can't see
right. They don't realize that.
I know,
It
but
just brings me to that episode, like in Supernatural, for example, when and I don't remember the name, but it was in season 2. It was the episode after Dean got hit with that electric shock thing or whatever, and it put him in a hospital, and he was in a coma.
That's season 1. Faith.
oh yeah, she's like binge watched it like 800 million times.
We just watched it today. It was where he was in the hospital when he first met.
Oh, it's called Faith.
He just met a Reaper that was a female in the hospital.
Bobby.
In My Time of
Billy.
Dying. Tess.
Tess, that's
Thank
it.
you.
Tess.
So it's kind of like that, where he's walking around and wanting to know why people can't see him because he's essentially dead.
Yeah.
So that's why spirits and ghosts, they don't understand that.
You just totally mixed up 2 episodes.
How? How did I?
Okay, In My Time of Dying is episode 1 of
Jesus.
season 2. After they get in the car accident.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And
My
then when
bad.
he gets hit with he gets electrocuted and has a heart attack is called Faith, and that's in
And that was the Reaper, and they were in the tent trying to get healed.
Yeah, the preacher's wife was controlling the Reaper.
Yeah, gotcha.
I just want to
remember
point
that.
out that she has seen Supernatural 800 million
Don't
times.
play with me.
No, I like Supernatural. It's good. But, one of the other things, too, about Captain Grant's that got me laughing a little bit was that silly little fight that they got into.
You've already said that.
I know, but I liked it. It was funny. It made me feel awkward.
I did agree with the technical guy because why would you want to go outside the place where there's all this activity and leave one guy in the house who doesn't have any spiritual connection, doesn't have any telekinetic abilities?
I don't think any of them had
Sean
telekinetic
did.
abilities.
He did not have telekinetic.
Yes, he is.
He was a sensitive.
He was
wasn't
sensitive.
tech-
Well, that's still the same thing because he's more open to it.
Well, being a mechanic and being a tech at Jiffy
Okay,
Lube are
I
two
know
different things, son.
telekinesis. Have you ever seen the movie Carrie? That's telekinesis.
I said telekinetic abilities.
That's
it.
what
telekinesis.
yeah, that's it.
He's a sensitive. He's
Hey,
a psychic.
if you want to be part of this group, just get used to your mom yelling at us because that's just the way it's going to be. She
Learn
knows
words.
everything.
I get used to her yelling at me all the time.
That's all right.
words.
If we didn't love
Yeah,
her, we wouldn't be here.
telekinesis or telekinetic ability is the ability to move objects with your mind.
And I've never been able to do that as hard as I tried.
He
'Cause you're not a Jedi.
He was a psychic. He was a sensitive. He's a medium.
Okay, well, that's what I meant. So he was technically not, he was more spiritually able to connect.
Yes.
Unlike the guy that they were going to leave in the house to investigate, who was mostly technical.
Yeah.
Right.
So I agree with the technical guy. Everybody
Yeah,
takes a floor and 0 point in on where it's coming from, not 2 people go outside to roam around the graveyard while one guy with the camera who doesn't fully know what to do is left alone.
Yeah.
Now, what did you guys think about the whole mirror thing?
From the Captain Grants or the
From Lumber Baron.
Lumber Baron.
No, Captain Grant's. We're focusing on Captain Grant's. The whole going around blessing all the mirrors.
Oh, yeah. That I agreed with.
Yeah,
that I agreed
mirrors
with.
can, like they say, are
They're portals.
portals to other worlds,
Realms.
realms.
Well, I got a surprise for you guys.
A doorway.
You're bringing in a mirror that's possessed, aren't you?
I'm not bringing in the mirror that's possessed that I know of, and then it won't be in tonight's episode, but I'm going to bring in a very old mirror at some point.
Yes.
I won't be here.
Yes, you will.
Nope.
Yes, you will.
That's
No,
like
I'm
bringing
just-
in a freaking Ouija board and said, "Here, let's play."
I don't believe in Ouija boards, so...
Well, the Ouija boards are not something you really want to mess with.
No.
But mirrors can be good or bad, it depending on what
Yeah.
you're communicating.
Well, I'm not going to bring in a mirror. I'm not that I'm not that idiotic, and I really don't want to bring.
If I walk in that door and I see a mirror, I'm going to turn my happy ass around, go back up the stairs, get in my car, and go home.
And
It looks like I'm crashing here for the night when she does that.
well, the thing is I agree with you 100%. I think a mirror is a portal to another world, another dimension, another area, another life, whatever. And you can see that both in Stranger Things. You can see that in Supernatural. You can see that in just about anything that had a mirror. Even the show, there was an HBO show, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but a mirror walked her into another dimension.
Alice in Wonderland.
And then there was Alice in Wonderland.
There's also the horror movie called Oculus.
Yeah. So.
But that mirror was actually possessed.
So, I think that was a good idea to have those blessed. Very good idea to have those blessed.
I thought at one point during that.
If you know your history, if somebody dies in a house, they cover the mirrors.
Right. Which is a lot of times when you go to those old estate sales, right? And you walk in there and there's a lot of furniture and they're covered. It's not just for the furniture aspect of it, it's for the mirror aspect of it.
Cover the mirror.
There was a part that in Captain Grant that I thought one of the mirrors broke because I heard glass shatter.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But was that the door that was slammed?
I think it was the door that was slammed, but at that point when I heard the shattering, he didn't get all the mirrors yet.
Okay.
I think he was only got like 2 or 3, and then I heard that shatter. I'm like, one of those mirrors got broke.
Yeah.
And someone got 7 years of bad luck.
For those of you that are watching and following with the episodes that we've been doing, this is technically our second episode that we're going to be putting out here next week. We're filming it tonight. We're going to put it out next week, whatever. For those of you who have watched 28 Days Haunted, please let us know what you think. I want to know if you're a believer, if you're not a believer, and do you have any stories? And in 2 weeks, we're going to have a special broadcast, and we probably will be doing that one live via TikTok as well once I get things all set up and ready to go. But we're going to talk about a very local serial killer here in the St. Louis area. One of the very first serial killers in the St. Louis area.
In Jeff City.
And Jefferson County. But nonetheless, and if some of you are out there watching, you'll know who we're talking about, and we're going to do the research on that. That just came across my feed today, which was weird because I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, well, how did it read my mind?
Isn't that so weird?
It is crazy.
We were talking, like last week, we were talking about cannibalism.
Right.
And you brought up that episode of that TV show, of the cooking show, and just the other day, it came up in my Facebook feed. I'm like, what the hell?
Right. Did you watch that?
So
the
weird.
government is watching you.
I don't know what it is, but it is weird.
That's if you know if you want to get someone to buy something for you, you grab their phone and say what you want 1,000 times, and then just put their phone down and walk away. And then they'll start getting advertisements for it.
Right. You don't even have to push buttons.
Hey, Mom, can I see your phone?
No.
Mirrors, cannibalism.
PS5, 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 PS5.
Right. PS5.
Freddy Krueger stuff.
I got you a supernatural makeup bag that was not in the list of stuff that you wanted for Christmas, so kiss my ass.
All right, so.
He did.
With all that being
it's in my
said.
purse, too.
We are at 33 minutes on.
This was a very short episode. Usually
on this
we
one.
go to an hour.
Yeah, but there's not a lot about.
There
wasn't a lot about that
Captain
one.
Grant's
The most exciting thing about that whole episode was the electric static generator, and I'm going to buy one. I swear to God, I'm going to
If
go buy
you
one.
get one, can we take it to Sally's and go into
She
the
won't
arts?
let us.
That was why we sneak in through the back window.
You had fewer on my wavelength.
Back window. What back window? The only back window of that house is like 18 feet up.
The one that's in the bar room that Grandpa replaced.
In the bar room that's
Yeah.
like this big.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
fit.
I can fit my thigh through there.
Well, that's all you need.
There's the picture window that's in the apartment.
But yes, if we ever get to do that basement, that's exactly
Sally
what I
already
want.
said
I know.
if she hears
If she hears anything, she's going to let us know.
she's going to let us know.
Well, she
But-
always stays upstairs, so how's she going to hear anything in the art studio?
But, who's to say one of the spirits aren't going to venture upstairs and be like, yo, what's up, Sally?
Doubt
I'll
it.
hear
She,
that scream all the way from our house.
Kelly be like, Ron, we gotta go.
who are you gonna call?
Ron Busters. All right. So, yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot. There really wasn't a lot about
There
that
really
episode.
wasn't. And like I said, in researching Captain Grant's Inn, I kept finding that it was built in 1754 by Captain William Grant. However, Captain William Grant wasn't born until 1754. So I think it was built in it was built in 1754. He wasn't born until 1784.
Right.
I think it was built 30 years before he was born by his father or his grandfather.
Right, and that makes sense. And it's just like playing telephone, Bobby said this last night, and then the next person says that Ryan said Bobby said this, so it always gets mixed up in translation.
Yeah.
So
With history.
It is on the National Registry in Connecticut of historical places. So.
when I'm old enough to retire, which is going to be like 95, the way today's age and age is going, right? But I want to go visit some of these places. If not to investigate them, just to visit them.
Yeah.
I'd love to go visit. I'd love to just go, and I know you can't go in it, but I'd love to just go to the Innamville house. Just walk right in front of the street.
Yeah.
I would love to go to the Exorcist house.
I would like that
St.
too.
Louis.
I'd like that clue.
I know the address. It's like a 30-minute trip, but yeah, I know where it's at.
Road trip.
I think there's actually a family that lives in that house.
I'm sorry.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Not me. I would be out like trout.
Because
I would sleep like a baby.
there is a family that lives in that house.
But there's a lot of places locally here that I've been reading about lately.
I used to have a book that was St. Louis Haunting.
Yeah.
I would like to go to places that aren't houses that are haunted, like some bridges that are in Texas.
So that was bringing me to my next thing that I was going to share with you guys, right? So the topic we're going to be talking about next week, right? The serial killer, right? We can't get in to the hotel in which all that stuff took place, but we can get around it. And there's a bridge that just a half a mile up the road that's supposed to be pretty creepy.
Okay.
That we might take a trip up there one day when the weather
Definitely.
Do
breaks.
it on a weekend?
When the weather breaks.
Definitely.
Now, eventually they're going to
Yes,
open
I ain't
up.
venturing out in the cold no more. It was cold when we went to those graveyards. I
Yeah.
about froze my little titties off.
Yeah, we're going to bleep that out.
Yeah, why would you bleep yourself out for one word and then just say another one just completely out there?
I know, she's like, don't let me this, but my titties are high. But anyway, I mean, this isn't a kid-friendly podcast, so it's not like we're in here to make parents
Well, it's
happy
not
with
like
their
they-
kids.
you know-
But, and it's not like some of these kids, like, most of the kids that are going to watch this are going to be, your 15, 16, 17-year-old to younger 30s kind of people that are into this kind of thing. And there's not a lot of people, there is a lot of people that are. But as we get bigger and as we get to know more people and we get to look at more of these places, we'll get better known. Like some of these other I don't necessarily think this is ever going to take us to like ghost hunters or ghost adventures and things like that.
Well, no, because Ghost Adventures, we're not going to fake everything that we do.
Right.
They actually went to the Exorcist house.
Quote unquote.
Cool, yeah.
Well, they also went to Morris Mill Hotel, which can no longer be, not the Morris Mill Hotel, the Alton Schoolhouse, which is no longer can be investigated because now it's apartments.
They also said they went to Plague Island in Italy.
And I know Taps went to Alton Schoolhouse, and they also went to the Morris Mill Hotel. And I've got some stories about that place, a lot of stories about that place. And if I could
There
find that
is
EVP when I was down there, that is going to be, that I'll find it and we'll play it, and that will be flipping amazing.
I would
Okay.
like to go to the lighthouse that Taps went to. That was really interesting, where you saw the eyes peeking over the railing.
Oh, when it went like all the way up and then like popped over the
Yeah.
top. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that episode.
That was the first.
That was creepy.
That
That
was
was
the
cool.
first episode of Taps I ever saw.
So I'm gonna throw this out there to the viewers that are out there, and the viewers that we do have. I want to challenge you to get in contact with us. I want you to come up with a topic.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
doesn't have to be ghost related in the paranormal universe. It could be a UFO. It could be Bigfoot. It could be
Now, time
you
out.
know,
No, time in.
Time out for a second. we're talking, as you can see, we've, reorganized the studio, and we were talking about getting stuff from behind us. And I said, I want to get that poster that says, I want to believe.
I'm
and
not
what did
putting-
you say you didn't want on there?
I don't want the frickin' spaceship on there. I don't, this is my...
Oh, the X-Files?
Right, this is our podcast. This is my podcast, But with that being said, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's right. So, but what I'm saying is, I want to hear what the public has to say. I want to hear what their beliefs are and what they think is out there. Because you can't tell me whether it goes from ghosts to UFOs and Bigfoots and all this, right? All them other things that are out there. You can't.
By the way, shout out to our boy Cryptid, because I was on his live the other night.
Were you?
Yeah.
I saw him too. I tried to get him to come on mine and he wouldn't. But I was doing my live, so I couldn't go on his. But yeah, Cryptic, because that's what... Cryptid. Yeah, thanks for joining us the other night, Cryptid. That was awesome, and we had a great conversation about Wendigos and all kinds of different things.
Fuck that.
So...
No, we were talking about Wendigos, which is really cool.
Just fuck those things. That and Skinwalkers, hell no, you can kiss my ass. I see one looking at me, I'm going to...
Well, chances are, you see one looking at you, they're going to kill you.
I was going to say, if you see a cryptid walker or Wendigo, you're like...
Oh no, I'm going to make sure I have barbecue sauce so I can slather myself, because I know I'm not going nowhere.
Well, yeah, they will, because they're going to barbecue. Dude, he's already seasoned. I'm going to tell you this.
They're going to put him in a Ziploc bag.
They call him a sandwich. A sandwich. So...
Mike's Hard Sandwich.
Mason and I were...
Short ribs.
Mason and I and Liz's dad, we were heading up to the farm one year, and we were talking about hunting. And Mason and I were talking and going in the woods and all this other stuff. And he goes, what if there's a Bigfoot up there? I'm like, whatever, dude. He goes, no, really, what if there's a Bigfoot up there? And Ron goes, what would you do, Mason? And this is Ron's my father-in-law. He goes, what would you do, Mason, if you saw a Bigfoot? And Mason says, I'm not scared of a Bigfoot. I said, you are full of shit. You're going to tuck your tail between your legs and be gone, brother.
You might as well be just standing in front of a silverback, beat your chest.
I know.
Because all that's going to happen to you is you're going to be like that one dude in the second Ace Ventura movie when a silverback came up to him.
Right. I said, he's just going to pick you up, Mason, and use you as a toothpick. That's what's going to happen.
They call him Bigfoot for a reason.
But
I don't think I'd be scared of a Bigfoot, because
Liar.
there's only been sightings. There's never been anything of them being violent or aggressive.
Because they stay away.
Because nobody's ever filmed or caught a real one on camera.
Because they stay the hell away from everybody.
I mean, a lion at a distance is not going to be threatening, but a lion like 2 feet in front of you is going to slit your throat and eat you for dinner.
Right.
I'm just going to think about Harry and the Hendersons.
I love that
do
show.
not think Sasquatch is going to be like Harry and the Hendersons.
He's laughing. Oh my God, that's my favorite scene when he's laughing. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
How do we take this from paranormal ghost talk to what we're talking about now? This is great. So,
well, we're talking about Bigfoot.
Now, what's crazy is with the technology today, right?
Yeah.
So,
Don Amici was in that movie. Sorry.
with today's technology, and you claim that you're calling BFRO, right? Bigfoot researchers of whatever
I was like, what the fuck is BFRO?
I think that's what it is. And then they go and interview these people, and then they show these
Bigfoot
videos.
Researchers Organization.
Right. They show these videos, right? These videos are very bleak. They're
grainy.
very grainy. I'm going to tell you right now, if I saw a Bigfoot, I'm videotaping, and I'm going to follow it. As long as I'm from a nice close distance away.
Nice close?
Close. Far away.
I think it's the first time I've ever seen him hold a Samsung.
No, I held one over here. I just bought one 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, you bought a tablet, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. One so we can cast our lives up to the screen and have a little bit of a better camera.
Now you just need to switch your Crapple to a Samsung.
My crapple?
Your Crapple.
Well, it looks like you just found your way out of a group.
Crapple.
You know what?
Get ready to do your research, or I dare you.
Let me hey, I'll find it. But let me tell you one thing.
Volunteer tribute.
Let me tell you one thing. Everybody else got my Radiohead, the stereo head or radio head or whatever that is that I use for my live broadcast.
Stream head?
No, not stream
Station head.
Station head. Everybody else can hear. Everybody else can call in. You couldn't. Your phone's a piece of beep. Right? So there you go. And then we call it a... No, I'm not saying that because my brother would be mad. But anyway, and he don't watch our podcast because they're scared.
So then why you're not going to say it?
Because I'm still respective.
Okay.
Respectable.
You and respect in the same sentence?
Right. RESPECT.
That's not what it means to me.
So, I mean, we didn't get a lot of paranormal talk tonight, which is fine. Michael, this is technically your first episode in as a paranormal investigator here with us, and on the podcast. You're not going to be on the podcast every week, but you will be here definitely next week. And
next week we may have another joiner.
Who?
Your dad.
No. Too many people, too fast. I'm running short of space.
You already said he could come next week.
I said he can come a week, not next week.
I am not
We're
going
going to have to cut this part out.
I am not going to be the one to have to tell Dad that. So listen, I know I promised you next week, but
okay, I'll say it this way. In the next couple weeks, we're going to have another person joining us, and that is Michael's dad, my ex-husband, Joe, who also was a paranormal investigator. He's a believer and a skeptic.
And it's just cooler than Mom.
And if he is, I got my new researcher.
Research is like his middle name.
Mine too.
He does more
Yeah,
research
but
than you.
he don't flip us off and correct us and smack our wrists.
Learn to talk.
God, you're just so much of a bully. Ron, I'm so sorry.
Right.
I would give you a hug, but no.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I know we didn't get a whole lot done what we were hoping to do tonight, but we did have a little bit of fun nonetheless. I want to thank Michael for joining us for his first night on the team. Kelly, everybody knows as Kelly. And you got
Who knows me as that?
I do.
Your email.
So, we'll get everything taken care of. We'll get Michael all situated and
His
tied
email
in.
set up?
Yep, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time. Don't forget, email us. You can email me at ron@backtobasicsparanormal. Well, it's actually B2B paranormal.com.
Mine is Kelly at B2Bparanormal.com.
And Michael ain't got one yet. So, but we're going to work on that this week, and we're going to get everything taken care of. And I hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your week.
Keep it
We'll see
real.
you next time.